Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is my second video in my low carb series. So say you're on a low carb diet or a keto diet and you heard a lot of people eat cauliflower and you're wondering what to do with it. A lot of people do cauliflower rice, which is nice. They grind it up into fine pieces and they stir fry it in the pan. But say you're getting bored of that and you want something a little bit more reminiscent of mashed potato. So I am going to show you two different ways to prepare cauliflower. It's going to be the same recipe, but the techniques will be a little bit different. One's going to be a mashed cauliflower, and one's going to be a smoother puree, and I'll show you the applications of both. Alright, come on in, I'll show you how to do it. Alright, so like I said, I'm going to show you two preparations, but for the first part, we're going to do the mashed cauliflower. So we're going to use half a head of cauliflower. I have about 2 ounces of cheddar cheese here, about 1.5 tablespoons of butter, but this is to taste. If you like a more buttery taste, then you can add more. Here I have some extra virgin olive oil. I kind of like the taste of both of those together, the butter and the oil. But if you really like the taste of olive oil or you want to cut on calories, then you can use all olive oil. And then here is seasoning of your choice, but here I have about a teaspoon of salt and a teaspoon of granulated garlic. Alright, so after it's been washed, you want to bring it back to the board. So today I'm going to use half of this head to show you the cauliflower puree, and then I'll use the other half to show you the mashed cauliflower. But the preparation is the same whether you want to use all of it or half of it. You want to just start by cutting off this thick stalk halfway down and just cut it in half. So you have two halves. It's okay to leave the thinner stalk here. So all you do is just cut around like that. Just spin the stalk around so that you have a nice stable surface. So what you're left with is this part. You can discard this part. So for this preparation, we want to slice them down into nice little 1/2-inch slices. Alright, so the next step is to get a nice pot of water on the boil. You want to fill the pot about halfway up to leave some room for the cauliflower. So since I'm doing two preparations of the cauliflower, you're going to see I'm putting in the whole head of cauliflower. But if you want to do the whole head of cauliflower, then you can double the recipe. Alright, so you can let that come to a boil. Just give it a nice gentle stir. But you don't really have to watch it at this point. We're going to let that go for a boil for about 6-7 minutes. Alright, we are back. So it's been about 6-7 minutes. And what you want to do is take either a small knife, paring knife, or steak knife, and just take a few of these cauliflower pieces and just test them. Slice through them. They should have a little bit of resistance, but they shouldn't be hard. And if you want your mash or purees to be completely smooth, like you can barely tell that there's cauliflower in there, then you want this to be like buttery soft, like it should go through like butter. But if you want a little bit of texture where you don't mind where you crunch on a little bit of cauliflower, then now would be a great time to take it out. So what you want to do now is take this pot to the sink and drain out all the water into a strainer or a colander. Okay, so we've strained out all the cauliflower. We're going to return it to a bowl, or you can do it in a pot. You have to do this within a reasonable amount of time where it's still hot, because if you wait for it to cool down, everything's not going to melt properly. So one special equipment that you might want to invest in is a stick blender like this. It's really just a blender that's designed to mash things up at the bottom of the pot. If you don't have this, you can use a potato masher, but you might just have a lumpier mashed cauliflower. But there's nothing to it now. I'm just going to add my ingredients. So we have our butter, our cheese. So I don't even bother grating the cheese since it's going to melt. And then the seasoning of your choice. You don't have to use garlic powder. You can add anything you want. Onion powder, fresh garlic would be great in this. I just didn't have any on hand today. Just a glug of extra virgin olive oil. You want to use good stuff for this. Something that you don't mind eating raw. So the way this works is I try to let this melt the butter a little bit, but then you just kind of So if things have cooled down a little bit for you, there's no harm in putting it back on the stove and on a low heat. That'll help transfer the heat through. So we still left some chunks in there, which I think is just fine. And we're still on a little bit of a low heat to get some of that cheese melted. And one spice I like to add at the end, so it doesn't get all mashed up, is some freshly ground black pepper. I just want to mix that through. So this stuff is great for pairing alongside of a protein, such as steak or chicken breast. It really makes it substantial. It adds fat. And it's similar to cauliflower rice, but it's a bit creamier and more decadent than it. But it's definitely a nice treat every once in a while. Awesome, so that was the cauliflower mash. We're gonna move on to doing the cauliflower puree. And just to remind you, we're using the same ingredients that we did for the mash. So that's cauliflower, cheese, butter, some seasoning of your choice, and extra virgin olive oil. So the preparation of the cauliflower would be the same, where we boiled it and let it dry off a bit. We're just gonna add everything to a blender, and then you're gonna see how it gets pureed. We have our hot mashed cauliflower. We're just gonna add that to a blender. Gonna put in our butter. We're gonna put in our cheese. And I just cubed that up. Add in our garlic. And our nice teaspoon of salt. And our olive oil. About a tablespoon. At this point, it doesn't matter what blender you have, just blend it up until it's smooth. And you'll be able to see. So the thing about puree, since it's a little bit looser in consistency, add a little bit of water, and that should get it going. Alright, so when you see that it doesn't have any more lumps, it's ready to go. You want to taste and adjust for seasoning, but this is what you're looking for. It's nice and thick, but it's definitely not as thick as the mash that we made. Alright, you just pour this out into a bowl. Alright, so I know what some of you are thinking. What the heck am I supposed to do with cauliflower puree? Eat it like soup? Well, you could, but what I like to do is take a nice dragon style bowl. It has to be dragon style or it won't taste as good. Get some of your delicious puree, and if you want to impress your friends, just lay some of it down, maybe 2 spoonfuls of it. Okay, smash your spoon in the middle and give it a nice little swipe towards the edge like that. And then say your friends are like, bro, you're keto, I can't even eat with you. I don't even want to be friends with you anymore. Just invite them over. Do this in front of them. Put your spinach, sauteed spinach, at the end of that swoop. Invite them over. Let them try keto. Alright, stir fry some beef, okay? No sugar. Just stir fry some beef, lay it next to your cauliflower puree. I'm doing a small portion right here, but you can double this up, of course. Alright, get that spinach in there. Alright, put some soy sauce with some sesame oil and just pour that over the cauliflower and the beef. And let that sauce drain back into the pool that you made. Alright, and if your friends are still complaining after that, there's something wrong with them. Alright everyone, that's it. I want to thank you for stopping by, and I hope you took something away from this. We made cauliflower mashed potato today and a nice smooth cauliflower puree. It's really simple. Again, you can doctor up the recipe as much as you want. You can add a bunch of different spices, fresh garlic. But really, cauliflower is a nice blank canvas. So I made this nice little plate with some veg and meat and cauliflower, and I think it really works well with beef. And I've also done it with salmon a bunch of times. So let's give this a try, the puree by itself. Really nice. You get a hint of that cauliflower taste, but it's not that strong. And with the beef, it's the perfect complement. It's way lighter than a mashed potato or potato puree. It's so smooth, buttery, cheesy. Give this a try, guys. If you like what you saw, please consider subscribing. I'm going to be putting out more low-carb videos, and definitely videos of other foods that are guilty pleasures and maybe not so low-carb. So, thanks again for stopping by. See ya!